You hear me?
Yes, sirski.
Oh, we good.
Good.
Okay, we good. Let me make the screen. Bam. Okay, there we go. My good brother, what's good with it, man?
Hey man, living life. How you
We
doing
gotta act
there?
like we ain't been talking for the last 15 minutes.
Hey, they don't know that. Old
Right.
us, new to them.
Oh, let me turn this volume down on my phone. But yeah, man. So, Sinners. Kind of want to get right into it, but the whole I've been kind of so as you know, you and I have been actually talking since we both seen this movie. Um, for me, this was different, and I mean, I haven't seen a movie like this in a while, right? And yes, it's good to me. Yes, I think the movie is awesome, great. Um, but and I've seen other good movies and great movies, but not in this way. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I think, man, Ryan Coogler, man, just hats off to him. I want to say first of all, hats off to him because he's done an awesome job with just the arts in general, like caring about the movie, caring about his people, caring about historic elements and pieces inside his film, and really doing the work to really preserve some of this information and for I mean as the climate I mean as I hear introducing a lot of things a lot of us didn't know about the Mississippi Delta or that region at that time Jim Crow era with introducing different kind of characters and stuff like that, right? He did an awesome job, and I think the story overall is just a really good story. What was your initial thoughts going into Centers?
Nah, man, you kind of hit it on the head, man. Like I didn't have like any preconceived notions, but watching a couple of previews, you're thinking, okay, South, Jim Crow era. I'm from the South, so I'm like, all right, I'm hip, even though I wasn't
Hmm.
around obviously in the 30s, right? But like I'm hip to what that looks like, right? For us, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, and now you throw vampires into it? Like what's the like how are you gonna play this? Like this is interesting. And then of course you start hearing all of the notoriety around it, like all the previous, like the previews, the Rotten Tomato scores, and it's
Yeah,
like okay,
yeah,
everybody's kind of saying that this movie is awesome, which I didn't expect anything less from Coogler.
mhm,
Like
for
he
sure.
hasn't, in my opinion, put out anything that was less than great. Like even if you might have your favorites, but at this point, he's getting into a space now where he's gonna be compared to himself.
For
He ain't
sure.
Spielberg, right? Spielberg got 50 years on him, but like
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
once you start comparing Fruitvale Station to Black Panther, and now you got Sinners, like he's going into a different realm as far as a filmmaker. And of course, Michael B. Jordan, he have worked together several times now, so
Yeah,
obviously they have some on camera chemistry, or from behind the camera and on camera chemistry. So I came in just like, yo, I'm excited to see where it goes, but I really didn't have an inkling of how they were going to put it together.
for sure.
But we
For
can get
sure.
into how I felt about it at the very end. Obviously, I thought it was a
Yeah,
good
for
movie.
sure. We're gonna definitely do it. I think we'll do a we gonna break this thing down, but at the end we'll do a maybe a out of 10 rating, maybe something like that. We'll do that.
Okay, that's
And
cool.
um, first, I want to say this about the movie. Let me know what you think about this. So it's technically by category a horror movie, right?
Correct.
Right. So it's a horror movie. But here's the thing. So there's been on the internet, there have been like not mixed reviews. I mean, obviously somebody don't like something, right? But for the most part, the amazing reviews, amazing across the board. It's I think at this time, at the time that we speak right now, it's maybe at like what is it? Maybe almost this past this Sunday. It said they should be maybe clearing 100 million, clearing 90 for sure. But clearing 90 for sure. They said maybe looking like 106, 107. Go if it does great, right? Which is already doing
Right.
amazing. So That alone has broken records for horror in a debut weekend already, right?
Yeah.
And an original film in horror. Here's what I want to say about that, though. I think I've been hearing people talk about there's some horror geeks, which like the purest of horror that complain it's not horror or it's not scary or whatever the case may be. But I think, and people are looking for vampires. I heard people saying, well, the vampires only showed up at, this part of the movie. I think they're looking at this all wrong.
Hmm.
I think the movie is called Sinners, right? Meaning it's about sinners the whole way through. It's more of a sinners movie than it is a vampire movie. I think if we look at it that kind of way, then you won't be looking for Fright Night, Bram Stoker's Dracula, all these vampire movies. You won't look at it
Right.
the same kind of way, right? And the reason why I didn't flinch if it took a while maybe to get to the vampires is because all the rest was so good, right?
Yeah.
Like we talked about the characters and the music, and we'll get into all that. But you think that's a fair assessment? How I looked at that.
Yeah. I mean, it's you know me. I mean, I'm a horror guy,
For
right?
sure, for
You
sure.
not necessarily, but but
No,
I would say it was more. It has its horror elements. It had elements of horror, right?
for sure.
Because it's almost borderline like psychological thriller,
Yeah, yeah,
but also, I mean, from a it's 1930s in Mississippi as a black person,
that's horror in itself.
you could probably make the argument that your life is horrific. You know what I mean?
Fam.
So even if you don't go deeper than that part, right? Just the
Yeah,
racist South in Mississippi, which is obviously historically one of the worst states when it came
for
to
sure.
race relations historically. So it's easy to say, yeah, it didn't give you Dust Till Dawn. It didn't give you I don't know. It's a million of them, right? It's a
Right.
million like vampire,
Mhm.
films, right? Like it's not Blade either. Like Blade is a vampire movie, but it's
Mhm.
kind of a superhero movie too. Like
Sure.
it's more than one way, right, to do it. But I think that's a fair assessment. Like, nah, it's a horror movie, but it's not traditional. It's an original film. We've
For
gotten
sure.
so many regurgitated ideas in the last, I would just say,
Ah,
25
that's
years.
good. That's good. Good
Like
point. It's like
brand
you're looking
new
for regurgitation.
thing.
You're looking for a copy of something, right?
Yeah, it's a brand new
And
thing.
it's a brand new thing. And a lot of y'all don't know how to digest it, you know. And here's another thing. It's heavy in culture. Like heavy in culture. And not just black culture, which
Right.
is what I love about it, right? Because if you think that you missed it, right? That's why I think it's almost like there's a bunch of like not messaging in here technically, but it's a bunch of little things in here that I love that they're not just up front. But for the person who's looking beneath the surface, you should be able to find everything, right?
Hmm.
And I love the fact that Ryan Coogler, man, he a genius with how he just displayed everything. The way the story ran, the way it was written, it was incredible. Let's get into this first scene. Actually, right, the very first thing we see is little Sammy pulling up to what looks like a church house, little small
Hmm.
little church house. He opens the doors and walks in. And then they show a frontal picture of him. Everybody look back. A front view of him. For the first time, you seeing him. Well, you see him kind of in the car a little bit, also with the scratch on his face, whatever. You seeing him bloody, bruised, scared, broken guitar in his hand. Something went down. some
Yeah.
some evil went down. Now, for me, I'll keep real with you. For me, I'm like, okay, cool. He didn't die, right? Because I'm always looking for who
Right.
gonna die first, right? So that's my initial reaction. Okay, he didn't die, but what happened? And what I also thought was, I'm like, who is dude? Who was the dad? I can't put my finger on it. I know the dad, but now I found out. I mean, I realized who the dad was after a while in the movie, but I'm like, he looked familiar, which I thought was dope that they used. What's that? Saw Man and the Poet. Right, it's
Yes, sir.
him. Right, Saul Williams.
Saul Beach.
Uh, no, it's
That's
Williams.
it. Yeah,
Williams.
that's
Okay.
it.
Um, and that was a powerful scene because it said so much. You kind of get into a story of what's about to happen as his father. He walks in. His father's telling him, "Put the guitar down." Right,
Yeah.
and but the way he was saying it, he wasn't saying it like it was a weapon, or he was saying it like, "I know what you went through," kinda. Right, not really, but kinda. I know hell had to do something with it, but um, you got to let it go, or you're gonna go through this again, or it's gonna be worse next time. Is that kind of what you got from that scene with that, with the guitar, him yelling about the guitar?
It was very interesting how they focused. I mean, even with the camera, they focused on the fact that he was holding on to that broken guitar,
For sure.
right? And like even the fact that he's like, "Come on, son," and like embraces him, and he Sammy never lifts his arms up. The body language said a lot to me, and I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, well, where is this going? Right? Is he about to reject? Like he went straight to the church house. Like, what's up? Like, it's a
yeah,
reason why he went there. Because at that point, you don't know that that's his actual father. Because
right.
pastors everywhere say son,
For
right?
sure, for sure. You're right, right, right. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you went straight to the church house. Clearly, you felt that would be the right place for you to go
Mhm.
based off of whatever you just came from, right?
Yeah,
But I think it was very, I mean, we found out later why he didn't put the guitar down in that shot. But like, yeah, man, I think that's a great point. But also, if we keep going into the scene, the first opening scenes, right? Like it makes sense why his father responded that way, right?
yeah,
So now we're
yeah.
getting into the he was in the field as a sharecropper. The very next scene, right? It says one day earlier,
Right.
flash, right? Show him as a sharecropper, kind of singing, picking his cotton, doing his thing. He bonks out. He goes home. I'm done for the day. I done hit my quota. I'm straight, right?
Yeah.
Sees his mom. He see his siblings. He looking for his guitar under the bed. The guitar nowhere to be found. I know where it's at. I know where it's at. So he goes straight to the church. Who's sitting in there? Pops, the
Pops.
pastor, right? And what does he say? Look,
You talking about the quote, the quote,
the quote:
the quote. He said, "If you keep," he said, "if you keep, you keep playing with the devil." He said, "Playing,
"Keep dancing with the devil."
keep dancing with the devil. He gonna follow you home. He gonna follow you home." Cold quote too. Even when they said,
Yeah,
I think the music did something, or
yeah,
something happened when he said it, and I was like,
yeah,
okay, right off the back, we know that music is gonna be a real heavy factor in this movie. That's what I got from that. Um, and damn, that was when you think about it now, it's genius because it's what they said of the blues back then. They called it, people who weren't with it. They said it was the heavy Christian folk. It was on the Bible. That's the Bible Belt, right? Going down Mississippi, is that
yeah, for
on
sure.
the Bible Belt?
Yeah,
For sure. So the heavy on some. That's the devil's music. If it make
yeah,
y'all act like that, sweating, dancing, sex, all these things, that's the devil music. And so right off the back, we know that okay, I can expect vampires because I've heard, and the music is going to be a huge thing about this, right? And I don't know how just yet. I mean, just to even assume the blues, but in what capacity? You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
Um, I love the characters in this movie, and when I say I love the characters, every single one of them,
Yeah,
every single one, and even the ones I maybe hate for movie purposes, not like bad
right.
acting. Everybody killed, but I loved every single character. And then um, our our first real scene seeing Smoke and Stack was really dope. I heard what's my man Omar who plays Cornbread, right? I
Yeah,
heard him do an interview. He talked about how I think he was on Van Lathan's podcast. He talked about how that Michael B. Jordan did such a good job. Maybe even 10 minutes in the film, you forget that that's the same person playing both of these parts.
yeah,
And I'm looking at Smoke and stacking away. Even with them, you notice how. So that's the movie magic I love. Not movie magic, but the trickery they love. Where they playing music. I'm sorry, with movies where they showed them standing on the car waiting for the cop to show up. Right? They're about to buy the juice joint from the man.
Yes, sir.
And did you notice how they were passing the cigarette to each other?
Mm-hmm.
How intentional it was. He was reaching over, grabbing the cigarette, smoke. And he's not even looking. Just grabbing a cigarette, smoke, whatever, and passing it back. And I thought that was so dope because what happens is, as a movie viewer, they know that you're going to look for the little slip ups and holes and those kind of tricks, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
looking for like did he grab the off grab with the hands off level? You know what I mean? You start to look for that, and you ain't gonna find none because they just did an awesome job, and Michael B. Jordan did an amazing job with
Yeah.
that. I
Even
thought
the fact that he wasn't rolling his own cigarettes.
yeah,
Like that's
right.
another little tidbit in there, right? That shows itself later in the film. But like, yeah, they did he did an awesome job. Like, it's kids right now that's gonna watch this movie that's gonna think Michael B. Jordan is a twin. Just
100%.
like watching what Parent Trap and figuring out later if you were a child. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
I was
yeah.
a child and not realizing later like, oh, Lindsay Lohan is actually not a twin. You feel me?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I agree because they did such an awesome job, and there's going to be people who don't watch, these spoilers and interviews and stuff like that, whatever. And some people just don't pay that much attention, or we'll see it later on in the future and be like, wait, that's not two people. You know what I mean? And I think you know what I found out too, that he had twin consultants on set. So they
Wow.
weren't supposed to be consultants, right? This is why you get when you hear about all this stuff. This is how you realize how much of an amazing movie is going to be. Ryan Coogler had his homies on set. There was two twins. They weren't consultants, but he did want them around because he is doing a movie about twins. And in them becoming like being around and working on set, they start consulting Mike, and
Mm-hmm.
he kind of took them on as like consultants. So he asked them questions, and they identical twins, and they kind of helping him with how to move in this and how do y'all move and what are certain things that maybe the average person would know that twins would know, a certain kind of feeling or a look or something, when you know what I mean, how y'all greet each other may be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was real interesting, and it plays into nothing is happenstance. This movie is incredible for a reason, and you start to get into the research and all the homework and all the things that were done on set. You start to realize, damn, that's why it was such a great film. They did all the work. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um, and we have the interesting story about. I think at this point we're so into the movie, we still not tripping on vampires. We just into the characters. They still character building,
Yeah.
right?
The
And
developing the character.
developing characters, right? And so we know that they're buying a juke joint. They're gonna have a party, and we also know they from Chicago, but we don't know they gangsters just yet. I don't think, right? At this point,
No, not at that point.
no,
No.
not that point. We know they came from Chicago. They back home,
Mm-hmm.
and they got a truck full of something, right? Um, and then we find out as they go into town, right? No, they pick up Sammy first. We find out that's their cousin, they
Yep.
cousins, and they pick up Sammy from church. And the pops, you could tell when the pastor came out, he didn't really like it. You know what I mean? And so they reminded me of your older cousins that come over. You know they trouble,
Yeah.
right? I
That's
think we
exactly
all
what
kind of
it is.
exactly. We all kind of resonated with that. Like, oh, that's them the trouble. Them the cousins that be getting you in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And but I also wonder why. How old was Sammy again? How old was he supposed to be?
I think he was 20.
He was a little grown. He was a young adult. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering why his
He wasn't
father
old enough
didn't
to
really put
drink
his foot
though.
down. Right, he don't drink. Right, right. But I'm saying why the father didn't put his foot down when he was going off. But I mean, he's a young adult at this point. He probably ain't got a job. You know what I mean? So there's that, right?
Yeah.
So I guess we really can't control that. I know the people were tripping off of when Smoke got into town, and That was Smoke, right? Yeah. When Smoke got
Yeah,
into
that was
town,
smoke.
and we saw a couple of things that we noticed off top. One, the Asian store. It was a Chinese store, right? Chinese market. And
Hmm.
for the people who didn't know, like me, I didn't know. I was one of the people who didn't know. I thought that was interesting. I said, "Wait, what's going on? Like, just a random Asian store in the middle of the block?" But here's another thing I noticed that people aren't talking about. Did you notice the tamale store? Did you see that?
No, I
Fam,
said I was going to see it again.
I'm seeing the same thing. I got to see it again. Fam, they had a tamale store next door.
Wow.
It was a tamale store. So they were, damn, he did just an awesome job. What it showed was now it got you doing your research in your head about, wait, is it, like this is too blatant for this to be out of place. So what don't I know
Yeah,
about this?
he for sure, like you said, did the research. So it is, for all intents and purposes, historically accurate. Like if
100%.
you were to be in a random place in the Mississippi Delta in the 30s, this is what you would see. Like even the fact that it was a black side and
And
a
a white,
white side
yeah, for
right
sure.
across the street from each other,
Yep,
owned by the same family, right? But
for sure.
like you live in the hood, like you used to going to the Chinese
Yep,
restaurant or or the beauty supply store maybe, like,
yeah,
and that's who's running it, right? Someone of Asian descent. I'm not gonna generalize
right,
currently
right, right.
who's
Oh,
all
yeah.
there, but like at that time, Chinese people for sure were in the South.
I didn't read up on it, but I heard that there was a documentary um, that won a bunch of awards. What year was it? 2000? 2000 oh, yeah. I forgot when she dropped this award. It was a lady by the name of, I don't know her name, but anyway. Um, oh, I do have her name right here. Oh, yeah, Larissa Lamb. She's director,
Mm.
writer, and producer of a documentary called Far East, Deep South. Now, first of all, this it won all kind of awards, right? It's first of all, so many. I'm not going to read all of them. That's how many awards she won for this documentary. Um, and she talks about Chinese immigrants moving to, coming over, moving down south, and finding their place in these areas. And Mississippi Delta is one of those places. And they talked about how, I'm kind of overviewing the doc, but talked about how they were kind of like in the middle of like everybody, right?
Yeah.
Like white people didn't mess with them because they not white, and it wasn't that we didn't mess with them, but they weren't black either. But we weren't on that, right? So they we wasn't tripping on them. We kind of got along with them a little better, but they still played their role of just we're just here to take care of our families,
Yeah.
build, take care of our families. We're not really a part of it. We're a part of the community, but we're not really a part of the community, right? Which, if you think about it, that plays to something major that happens later on in the movie, right?
For sure.
And I
Yep.
thought
Of
that was
course.
interesting with that story being told. And what's cool about it is that for the tons of people I know didn't know that, now it forces everybody to go back and do some research and go figure it out, go find out like what was going on, where's people from, what's the history. Let me see. Somebody put shout out to Thizzy. To the end of the 1900s, Chinese-owned grocery stores can be found in every Delta city and town, serving both white. Exactly. So for the people who didn't know that, because I didn't know that, I'm gonna keep 1,000. I did not know that, and and for the same reason, I didn't know a lot of my history because nobody taught that to us either, right? If they didn't teach me,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So I thought that was interesting when they showed that, but I also thought it still reminded me of our modern relationship with the the Chinese store or the Korean market around the corner.
Yeah.
How we all dealt with each other. It's like we were cousins. You know what I mean? Because even
Nope.
even how he talked to Bo, how
Hmm.
Smoke talked to Bo, and how Smoke talked to his wife was different. His
Yeah,
Bo was cool. His wife was business,
for
right?
sure. Can
And
you
man,
give
and
me a sign?
right, right. But also it kind of told me that, but like your wife would do, if somebody's trouble, your wife don't be hiding that. You know what I mean? You know, if I'm out and my wife don't vibe with somebody, I can be smiling, but she'll be like, "Hey, nah, he ain't.
Mhm.
Hey, how you doing? That's it." But she'll tell me later, like, "Yeah, I don't like him." Something up with, you know what I mean? So Grace, who we found out, Grace and Bo, that's the couple name. Grace was kind of like, yeah, just what's the money? Yeah, how much? Basically, like, I'm not dealing with you, you know. Um, but yeah, man, these characters. Once you get into these characters, and it's funny how each character teaches you about another character, right?
Mhm.
Like when you meet Grace, you kind of realize what kind of person Smoke is, in a sense, about her fear of that,
Mhm.
and a relationship with Black and if I'm not mistaken, they were Chinese there, Bo
Yeah.
and Grace, Black and Chinese in that area, and also when you meet Annie, right? Who and shout out to her. I'm so surprised that people are so surprised of an Annie, right? You know, people have been saying we're not even gonna get into all that. Anyway, but she killed. She killed. She's a beautiful, full figure black queen, and she served. Like
Yeah.
her role was. It's just so I don't know. So many moving pieces. What did you think about her when did you kind of pick up on that relationship immediately
So the first part of that is you see Smoke pull up and he's putting
on
like
the grave?
flowers down, right? And you like, okay, well, okay. Then you see the little hand. I'm like, okay, maybe a kid,
Hmm.
but you don't know where he is because this is
Right.
right after he leaves, coming from
Yep.
town or whatever. So it's like, okay, what's going on here? But then you see, a transaction take place inside of the little house or whatever, and it's like, okay, don't sell this before you get home. She sent a little girl out the door, and I'm like, okay,
Right.
she kind of like the healer. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
she's that spiritual outside of the church
For
leader,
sure.
if
For sure.
you will.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yep.
that's where people go to get their, oils and whatever
Remedies.
things they
Yeah.
need.
Different things.
Right?
Yep. Hmm.
So I'm like, okay. But then I'm starting to put it together. Okay, there's a grave right outside her spot. And then they kind of start trading looks, and I'm like, oh, okay, this was his babe. Because at first you don't know if like that's his sister, that's his mom.
Yeah.
Like you don't know
I
who
don't
she
know.
is,
Yeah. For sure.
right? Then it's like, oh, okay. Like the way they start talking to each other, it's like, okay, like I need some catfish, and it's like, okay, like, but that ain't really why you here. You know what I mean?
Right. 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 Right.
And
Right.
you gonna make me say it? I miss you. I love you. Yeah,
And it was
yeah,
intense. The looks were intense. Like which is I heard someone say real acting. You see real acting when no words are being said, no words are being spoken, right?
absolutely. Their body
And
language is on 1,000.
it's like, oh man, to even know how to get that off without saying anything is a skill. And how intense the looks were back and forth, you just like, oh wait a minute, this deeper than whatever that. There's a connection there, and you start to look at like, oh wait a minute, so what we're getting is that because we know he just came back from Chicago. So did he leave her? Like, you know what I mean? You start to think that like it wasn't like they had cell phone stuff back then. So it wasn't if you was gone, you was gone. Right. So you thinking
Yeah,
like, did he leave her and just I was out? And then, she put that mojo bag on his thing. So she knew he was gone because she put that on his neck to protect him.
yeah.
So but there was still some anger there, right? And then we find out obviously the whole story about the baby and stuff like that, whatever. But then
Hmm.
there's obviously the love there because they shared a moment, obviously, you know,
Yes.
uh, right, a real moment. They will get to that moment though. That's one thing about sinners. There's some moments in there they're gonna get to for sure,
Gonna be
for
some sinners,
sure.
fam. It's Gonna be some sin. Oh, the most biblical sense
Right.
for sure.
Sure, for sure.
But
So
nah, that was dope. That was a dope.
it was dope, man. And so I love the fact that how instead of they did like it was almost like a straight line. How can I explain this? It was almost like a straight line, a straight road, right? So there's Smoke and Stack and Sammy on one end of these two roads, and then there's a juke joint at the other end. And on the way to the juke joint, they're picking up all these characters. And you learn about all these characters on the way to the juke joint. That's how I view what happened with
I
for
would
sure.
say I would say too though, the Smoke going into town, getting, what he needed from the Chinese market, getting the
Mhm.
sign, picking up what he needed to pick up, is running concurrently in parallel to Stack going to get the musicians and all those things, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
now we meet, Delta Slim.
Mhm.
Then right after that, we meet Mary.
Yeah, yeah, yes. Right at the same spot. You're right,
And
right, same spot. Yep.
Mary and Annie have very different stories, but it's kind of similar. You know what I mean?
For
They
sure.
both were the women that got
They're the
left
love
behind.
interest. They're the love interest. They got that in common. Yeah, the women that they left behind. And they
But they
left
knew
both of
each
them for
other
different reasons,
for sure.
right?
For
For
sure.
sure. And what I thought was so Mary was she was I would just say she was a character, right?
Sure.
That I did like. I liked her character, and I liked her character for a couple of things. There was a lot of controversy on the internet about quote unquote white privilege and white passing privilege, right? So how I understood Mary to be that yes, if you want to talk about the one drop rule or 1/8 black thing, there's
Hmm.
that. And you can tell by the way Stack was talking to her that no, first of all, I didn't know off back that there was love there, right? I knew it was a girl he messed with, obviously. And I thought she was crazy because the way he was talking to her. Like, get your crazy, get away from me, going somewhere, right?
Nah, I thought
No,
he
no, no.
stole something from her.
Oh, okay. So but you did think something happened between
For
them.
sure.
Okay, okay.
I mean, love interest, yeah, like
Mhm.
something happened there, but also, you know
He
why
took.
I'm looking for you.
Ah, yeah, 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 yeah,
Like,
yeah. Okay.
like you either
I see.
stole
I didn't.
something or
Yeah,
you did. That was my initial thought when I saw that
yeah.
scene. Like,
I mean, he
oh
did
damn,
something, but he did. He
yeah,
didn't take. I don't think, not technically, but he didn't take anything. But yeah. I was thinking because the way he was saying it, like going somewhere, people can't see us together. And I was thinking to myself like, oh, he's saying that because he's a black man arguing with a white woman, and that'll get you killed, right? And one, yes, that will get you killed. But we find out that I mean, when she started saying like, well, when your such and such was in my such and such, I'm not gonna say online, but I'm like, oh, hold up, hold up. She don't not like him. She do like this nigga, right? she
yeah,
she wondering where he been and why he just bounced, right? And then I also get from that like, oh, he telling you it's dangerous. Like if you don't leave, something gonna happen to me and you. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like it's dangerous here. But I think what happens with I'm not gonna say all women, obviously, it's ought to be generalized, but what happens with women sometimes is that they'll ignore the danger to get wherever to focus on whatever they need to focus on, right? And so he was telling her, put that to the side. We don't even supposed to be talking right here. You know,
hmm
because though you are white passing, we ain't in our neighborhood. We at the train station.
for sure.
And all kind of people come through here, meaning everybody don't know you, right? Because there was a difference. I'm gonna jump, but we're gonna jump back. When she walked into the club that night, nobody was tripping that she was in there.
Right.
And if that was an average, straight up white woman, everybody would, the music probably would have cut off, everything would happen.
Yeah, like if
Right?
Joan would have walked in there.
Like if Joan would have walked in there, the music would have stopped there. Hey, what's going on? Who's that? But when she walked in there, it told me everything I need to know about who she was in that area. Like, oh, everybody know her. She technically not white. She is white, but she's both. And
Yeah,
she was raised with us. She's one of us, but passing, right?
right.
That's what it told me when she walked in the Jew joint. But out there, they don't know. They don't know that. And he trying to let her know, like, hey, nah, this ain't it, right? And then she started talking fiery, spicy. And then he was like, wait a minute, we kind of, I'm gonna speak for men, or not all men, but a lot of men. We kind of like the spiciness, right? The kind of like, wait a minute, hold up. It kind of like give like a spicy kind of dangerous kind of thing to it. You
I'm
know
gonna
what I
take
mean?
you down through there. You keep talking to me like that. Yeah, without saying it, I'm
You know,
gonna take you down through there. And you just made a comment about what I did to you the last time I saw you. So pump them brakes.
pump them brakes. So he had to get her up out of here because if it get louder, that's why when she said made the comment about her mom passing, you could tell he was hurt. He couldn't get
Yeah,
into it though. He got to stay on what he on because you got to get out of here. And if you didn't get out of here, it's gonna get louder and messier, and then it's gonna be all bad after that. And I got things to do. I got places to go, and I can't be here with you. Can't. Then
right.
then we meet Delta Slim, right? Which I love this character as well. I love all them characters, man. He was just like the OG veteran, hood legend kind of dude. You know what I mean? Everybody know him. Been there for years. He's an alcoholic. We find out very fast he's alcoholic. Um, and and also I love the fact that I'm like, oh, there's an older young element here because Samuel's standing right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this because this is what I didn't understand. He said, oh, Samuel was about to play something. And they was like, no, whoa, stop, not stop it, and stop it. They kind of made him stop. Why did they do that? I never understood that.
I feel like it was because of where they were.
Okay.
Like, because you notice Delta Slim playing like a harmonica,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But when he later in the film, that ain't why he picked him up. He picked him up because he was the nicest on the keys.
On the keys, he plays piano. Right.
Right. So you
Right.
got to still be mindful. Like you can play the harmonica because that's low key. Once you start
Yeah.
congregating and playing music and doing like what?
You call a big crowd. And at the time, the blues music was it. So you're a blues player. That's a whole nother level of like, no, you can't be out loud with this.
For sure.
I didn't even
For
trip on
sure.
that. Okay.
Especially
Okay.
given the time and where they were, like, and they at the train station, like, it's people coming in and out. Like, even though we never see a official police officer, we find out
Right.
later that your
Right.
boy
Right.
is on the police force or sheriff
Yeah.
or whatever. But like,
Mm,
like police just walking around, like, what y'all doing over here? You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
that was interesting. But yeah, it made sense when they were like, nah, don't not here, basically.
This is something I, s- I skipped, but I remember it now. I want to ask you, did you see it? I haven't heard anybody on the internet talk about this. And I saw it and I tapped my wife in the theater. I'm like, did you see that? And she didn't see it the first time. She caught it the second time. But I don't hear nobody talk about this on the internet. Did you notice when Smoke and I'm sorry, it was Stack and Sammy was in the car when he started singing, right? And you notice how Stack looked at him like what? Like right? He didn't. I didn't know you know how to sing or that good, maybe. I don't know, whatever he was shocked, whatever it was. The reaction was shocked. Um, did you notice when they showed the car, the car that they showed the far view, the three birds that was in there, the three big ass birds that was in there,
The vultures.
the vultures? Did you notice that on that scene?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people didn't notice that, and nobody talked about it, right? They talked because when I was in the theater, I asked my wife. I said, what's them three big ass birds right there? Who? Because you can see from the far, so you don't know that they vultures at that point. Remember, they showed them again when they like that Remick showed up at the house, right? So then that's when I put two and two together. But at first, I was saying to myself, like, what if they so? First of all, they so big and so out of place. What is that? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't. But then after I watched the movie, you start processing everything, and I'm like, they only showed up when, if you notice, they showed up when the music started playing, when Sammy
Mm-hmm.
started singing, right?
It is.
Yeah, Sammy started singing, right? Bro got the vocal cords, bring him out, right? And then so do we get to Remick after the train
Oh,
station?
we got a timeout. We
We too
skipped
far,
over
okay.
Perlene.
Oh, you're right. You're right. At the train station,
Skipped over
you're right.
Perlene at the train station.
At train station,
She's
you're right.
Sammy sees her and is like, "Ooh, like who is that? I gotta go,
You're right.
see what's up."
First of all, every
Like,
man
boy,
did that.
I'm
Every
married.
man did that when they see her.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough though. But she like, "Well, I'm married." He's like, "Look, yeah, that's what's up." Anyway, this is what I'm doing tonight. That was for sure the energy. Like
For sure,
she's like,
for sure.
you gonna be playing there? He like, yeah, you gotta pull up. A little
And,
foreshadowing there. But yeah, we get
and
introduced to Perlene. Mary kind of overshadowed it, but
yeah,
Perlene was important. That was an important character we found out later,
but
obviously.
you're also getting everybody's, if you want to say, sins as you meet the character, right?
Absolutely.
You get as you meet every character, you're like, okay, they are what's called shot somebody, they're robbers. Um, Bo and her Grace,
Great.
which I don't know. Well, maybe how they use the community to get what they need, and then right. So
Yeah,
there's that. But two married women, because Mary was married and
absolutely.
doing something she should be doing, talking crazy out loud. And Pearline was married. Delta Slim's a drunk, alcoholic. He's a lush of alcohol. So yeah, we learned a lot about the characters so far, and that's why I'm telling. That's why I was telling. That's why I said in the beginning of this live, people got to stop focusing on the vampires. It's more of a sinners movie than it is a vampire movie. You know what I mean? But Pearline, yeah, and what's crazy was she was off top. It didn't take no convincing. It wasn't like she said I'm married as like a programmed response, but it wasn't no fight, right? Brody even had no. It wasn't even like he had to say like shoot a line or a shot or something. He just like, hey, I'm be playing this thing tonight, because I play the blues. I'm killer out here, basically,
I'm really,
and
him.
I'm really
You should
him.
come. So
Yeah. It's gonna mean the death of you, but it's cool. Like, you know what I mean? But like
he's the only person in the film that got ate twice.
that's a fact. Yeah, that's a fact. Duh. So, but and what's crazy is we're here, and all throughout that movie, I'm still not tripping on. I'm loving what all this is. I'm loving learning the characters. Some people are funny. You learn who's going to be like. You start picking out your favorites for whatever reason. Um, then they go slide up on cornbread, right? And now this is what I thought was crazy. He was disrespecting the hell out of his wife. Now that was who was that? That was Stack or Smoke. I forgot which one was.
That was that.
That was Stack, right? Because Sammy was with him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So, and I thought that was crazy. Oh yeah, that's cold. Yeah, I thought that was. I was trying to think, what was their relationship like? Did he know the wife already?
Who you talking about,
Or
Stat?
yeah, when remember
Oh yeah,
he said, man, F your wife, F you and your wife.
but I think he knew the reason why he chose cornbread, right? Obviously, outside of
Right.
him just being a bigger guy, right? You're gonna
Yeah,
be our
yeah,
door guy. But
for
I
sure.
also know if I pull these levers, I can get you to move.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
feel like
Sure.
the disrespecting of his wife was more about, I know if I do this, I can get him to actually hear what I'm saying,
And I don't really
right?
mean the other part. I don't really mean the other part. Yeah, yeah.
Because you notice his wife didn't even really. She wasn't like, "Why is he? You gonna let him talk to me like that?" It was like, "You need to go see what's up." That boy said he got some bread for you.
Push them to death. Now, I didn't see that. Did you see this question right here? I didn't hear that, or maybe I
Oh
did.
yeah. So yes, this is so when they're
Okay,
driving, they're driving and they pass the chain gang,
right. Oh yeah, right, right. Yep, I remember that.
and then and Sammy's like, "Oh, you know them?" He was like, "Psh, I used to be one of them,"
Right.
right? And he was like, "What did he said something to the guy? Pick your head up or something like that. It
Yeah,
was
yeah. Pick your
something
head
to
up.
that
Yeah,
effect.
yeah,
He gave
yep.
him a positive message. But the thing was, and I don't know if you've seen the interview with Delroy Lindo talking about this scene. He said it was 3 pages of a monologue.
Yeah, he said that. I remember. I've seen that. Yep.
So that part is like a really like important part of the film because he's kind of shedding light on what happens to black people in the South. I mean,
Yeah.
we've seen the comedic interpretation in like life, right? But
Right. Right.
like
Right.
that really was happening to people. I mean, up until like modern history. If a white
Yeah.
man said you did something, you did it, and it wasn't no due process. Like it is what it
Right.
is.
Yep.
You can go to jail or worse. You know what I'm saying? So that was that part of it coming out. So you kind of learn a little bit more about Delta Slim and
Mm.
why he's probably a drunk and why he's singing the
Yeah.
blues. So it's
Yeah.
really setting up his character and just giving you a lay of the land of where they at for real. Like, yeah, we knew y'all sharecroppers, but that's the first time you really kind of see it like in your face. Like, oh yeah, it's really like the Jim Crow South in the height of it. You know what I mean?
And if you notice, also Delroy, la- not later on, no, I think in the truck he did. He also said in the truck, he said, I don't want to misquote him, but he said something to the in effect of, the devil been chasing me for a long time. Remember, he said something like the devil been chasing me for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Especially this year blues. So the way he thought about anything was just like, look, I'm about to live this life because we. He kind of was like, in a sense, a little bit hopeless, right? He was like,
Yeah.
like kind of like, I'm just gonna drink. I'm just gonna drink my life away. Then play. I'm gonna play this blues and get more money so I can buy a drink, so I can just drink my wife because I know on one outside of music, that ain't no place for no man to be a sharecropper or whatever. And inside the music, the devil keep chasing me, chasing me, chasing me. So I'm gonna find this fine line of getting drunk and staying in the middle. And whatever
Absolutely.
happens to me, I don't even care. Which also shows the signs of why that happened later on in the movie, right?
Yeah.
Which is genius writing, I must say again, to how Ryan circles things around. But you got to watch the full picture to get all these things going to come back around. I thought that was awesome. Um, but yeah, I didn't hear that. The sounds it said behind the background of when he was singing that song. Oh, first of all, and to your point about the interview, to hear that the song was a freestyle. It was
Yeah.
improv. That was, man, actors, man, it's amazing how they go someplace. Sometimes they be in such a zone, they just go into a place, and the director also who has skill to know to go with something too,
Yeah.
right? Instead of knowing when to not cut something, let them go, let me get it off. Let's see what that is, And then he got that song off. That was a powerful. That was a powerful little scene in the car with them.
Absolutely.
And I think also Sammy was getting kind of not that he was thinking this, but getting kind of like a forethought on what life may be like if you do go down this road, which is a
Mm-hmm.
crazy dynamic when you think about you know what I mean?
And stay where you are.
Right. Wow. Yeah, 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 yeah. Damn.
Yeah. That's the part.
Yeah.
So,
That's deep.
you know, and then what's the next scene after that? They got cornbread now. Is this when you get introduced to Remick?
I think maybe so. I think you see the scene starts, we come falling off the air or whatever. You see him jumping off something. and running. He's on some smoking, back and smoking. He runs towards his house. I heard, I'm not sure how true it is, that the symbolism there was a fallen angel, right? Now, not literally, but the symbolism in the shot was a fallen angel. Now, we know he was getting chased by some Choctaw Indians was on his ass, right? But um, right, right. But the symbolism is like a fallen angel, which I thought was pretty dope. To how they did that, how he came into the scene like dropping down or something, and running to the door, and then using. He was asking them to come in, right? Asked to come in first, and then noticed the KKK Klan's robe
Good.
in there, and then kind of like latched on to that of like, oh, we the same, kind of like I'm white and we the same thing, kind of thing, you know, which I thought was interesting because it's easy for you to think racist, you know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
as you
So
got
much
to
more.
learn, it's so much more. It's so layered. It's so deeper than that, you know. But it's such a thing that us as our people we go to first, and rightfully so in a lot of instances. We go right. It's a safeguard at some point. But I love how the Choctaw Indians showed up. They basically was like, "Hey, y'all see somebody run through here?" He said, "You sure you ain't got nobody in there?" Like, all right, look, check it. I know you probably got somebody in there. He ain't who you think he is, you know. And we just gonna pray for y'all. We out
Yeah.
because
Sun going down.
you know what I'm saying. The sun going down. Yeah,
We
yeah,
finna get little.
we finna get a little sad, you know. But I thought that scene, other than just being funny, I think people miss how powerful that scene was. Um, there was something what they didn't understand. What happened over there was they were hunting a vampire down like they be doing already, right? They're not new to that. They weren't scared. They're chasing one. That's
Yeah.
that's a different thing. Usually people are running from. They're chasing one. And they came to the door and still knocked and everything. They didn't ramsack your house or nothing like that. They knocked on the door, didn't come through, and also he's running from. So he know that they know what to do to get rid of him,
Absolutely.
right? He ran into a house that the house don't know nothing about his type. And the house is so blinded by racism, they thought because our skin was the same, we're the same.
Mm-hmm.
A luxury you and I can't afford to have. Because as much as I love my people, all skin folk ain't kinfolk.
And I'm not about to let you in my house. I just
One
not
thing
about
we
to do
learned
it, bro.
early. We learned that early.
Facts.
I think Remick, in my opinion, is one of the most interesting characters in the movie. He's
Powerful.
layered. He's layered a lot more than a lot of the other characters. Uh, first being Irish. Did you have any thoughts about that? What you found out? Like, what was you thinking when Remy got into like became who he was?
Yeah, I mean, it's still a period piece, right? Which is also what makes the movie, so dope. Like as far as just like the Chinese immigrants being a part of the Mississippi Delta, like
Yeah.
Irish Americans, depending on who you talk to, have a
Mm-hmm.
lot in common with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they were seen as second class, third class citizens for a long time, right?
Yep.
So you came over on a ship in the 30s, 20s, right? Whatever, trying to escape whatever religious persecution or whatever, you Irish Catholic, whatever. You come to the States looking for acceptance, but you're
Mm-hmm.
treated as a second class citizen. So they are working class. They might not have been sharecroppers, but they're not slave owners. They don't have
Right.
indentured servants. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
For
that's
sure.
not
For
really
sure.
their life. You know what I mean? So he he was a charlatan, right? He's a vampire at that point.
Right.
But he
For
did
sure.
rely on those things. It's like cunning, like, okay, white people racist. I know I can use that to my
Yep.
advantage. But once they invite me in, though, I'm gonna really show them what it is.
Right.
right? And just like the same thing, he tried to do the same thing outside of the juke joint. Look, I'm just like you. I just want to play some music. I just want to have a good time. I got money. I ain't on that type of time. Like
Yeah.
he's trying to play to that I'm not like these other white people,
Yeah.
right? That
Yeah.
made him a very interesting character before you even really get to understand like how deep his understanding of vampirism, I just made that up,
Yeah. Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Right.
Because it's like he had a really deep belief in what he was saying and feeling, right? It's like, oh no, we get to dance all night around here. Like, this is a community. Y'all should
Right.
join us. You know what I'm saying? Like he really wasn't on no death to the Negro. Like it wasn't about that. It was about nah, y'all
No.
come
Yeah.
join me.
Wow. That's I love that. I love that breakdown, and because I didn't get that from him. I didn't get racism from him. You know what I mean?
Right.
I know people like to look at a white man killing. First of all, they was the if you say a white vampire killing black people, well, I mean that happened, but also the first people to kill were white. You know,
Equal
first people
opportunity.
equal opportunity. Like minus one. That was he was Remick minus one. That's
Everything must go. he was. He was though. On that time for real.
we was minus one. Everybody can go. Everybody can get it. And but to your point though, his history and what he remembers is that I don't want to sound crazy, man, but I'll go as far as to say, like, he felt a deeper connection with us than he did with the two white people he turned first. Right?
Oh, for sure. But you know why
And
though?
yeah. 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 And see that and that's the thing, you know, it's that's why it's so interesting. He's so interesting of a character because you like, damn, like I don't like him as a character. I mean, I love his skill and everything, but he's just super interesting as a character. I don't hate him like a racist character. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? I know he's a vampire, but also like you start to think in the movie, you'd be thinking, well, what's his angle? Because and also, here's the thing. I don't the reason why I didn't another reason why I didn't peg him as racist is because he wouldn't even be there if Sammy didn't sing. There was no way he was even found them.
Yeah.
He happened to roll up on a bunch of people who summoned them.
But yeah, because when he got to the top of the hill, he saw through the walls.
Yeah.
Remember that? He could
Yep.
see straight through the building and see, oh, they in there dancing, they in there
Yep.
playing music, they having a good time, they drinking, they eating catfish, like everybody having a good time in there. But the
Mm-hmm.
music, to your point, is what attracted them,
For sure.
just like the
Called him right
vultures.
over there.
Yeah,
He said it too.
man, that's
He
crazy,
said it
man.
when he put up, he said, oh, that's when Sammy started talking in the doorway, he said, oh, that's the voice. Oh, you little Sammy. Remember he said, that's the voice. Here, so he recognized the
Mm-hmm.
voice from way over there because it really ain't way over there. Sammy's voice was it opening the gate to another realm, and everything was falling through as we got to see with one of the coldest scenes in my I would say one of the coldest. If I say, is it fair to say dance, mute, song and dance routine?
I'll just say
Maybe
sings. I'll just
just
say
say it.
sings. I mean,
Coldest scenes
music.
in movie history.
Yeah, that was man, that was powerful.
It was powerful, and I was watching. I couldn't believe what I was seeing because that was a different kind of thought out. That mean that was if you that was the perfect way. If you had an idea of how we gonna get this off, that would be the perfect way to do it. But we gotta give credit also to who was his name? Ludwig Grossum. You see, Ludwig Garrett
Oh,
Gorson.
Ludwig. Yeah, yeah.
Ludwig Gorson. Bruh. Fam, he
He's
was
about to win a bottle of
wilding.
water.
What?
For sure.
Man, he was he was going off because, bruh, the way he blended the music. Yeah, that's what it's Ludwig. Yeah, Ludwig. The way he blended the music in such a way that it wasn't off. Like it wasn't like you blend the music and you got thrown off the beat or you got thrown. I mean, that that's a genius thing in itself. And here's the thing: you messing with, bro, I don't know how many genres of music he went through and
Bro, some of
eras.
that shit didn't even have a genre.
Some of it
That shit
didn't.
didn't even have a genre. It
Some of it
was
was just
like West
totally
African.
yeah, right, for
He
sure,
took it all the way back to the crib, bro. Like,
dog.
what?
And then the fact that they showed up in a way where the roof opened up, right, which was symbolism of the veil being taken down and
Mm-hmm.
worlds being collided, and here comes
Mm-hmm.
the ancestors, right? And then you're looking at people dancing, and then you notice, like, wait a minute, where the African dude come from? Right when what's happened, like right in the beginning, and
And it's
you see
going
him doing
forward at the
fam,
same time. At the same time, you're getting music, disco, and like what? All of this is happening hip hop. It's all happening at the same
not happening right
time,
now.
bro.
It's happening right now. That was insane. And then everybody was represented in costume also, and it was like, and here's the dope part: they even had the Chinese I forgot the dance the Chinese I forgot what I don't know. Not a dancer, but he was doing. It was a dance they were doing. Remember the Chinese when they
Yeah,
went into the other room? The Chinese man,
yeah,
because somebody asked why would the Chinese man be there doing the dance, whatever? Because he was channeling somebody to represent everybody in the room,
absolutely,
and Grace and Bo is there.
absolutely.
You know, so everything else was black, if you noticed. And then the Chinese people dancing, and I'm like, nigga, how you even thinking about this? How you even, how you consciously, how did you think this out like that? That's genius. And everybody
Genius,
was
bro.
faded watching that scene. It was genius. I couldn't believe it. And I'm just like, is this the dopest scene I've ever seen in a movie?
I'm
That
trying to
also
think of
was like culturally, it's tough because culturally, he gave you he gave you everything. This is a period piece in the Jim Crow era, 1930s, and he gave you everything before that and after that, musically, in one scene that
one
didn't even
scene.
last. The scene didn't even last what, maybe 10
Like,
minutes?
yeah, I
Not
don't
even 10
even know
minutes.
if it was that long. It probably was like 5, 6 minutes, bro. But they were just. It was almost. I'm gonna be real. Like the genius of it for me is, especially. I
Mhm,
mean, you're a musician too, right?
mhm.
We are, as a creative, we feel and view music differently.
Yeah,
So in that moment, like I felt like I was a part of it. And
100%.
that's the genius of it, right? It's like the movie is about, well, partially about opening portals, right?
Yeah,
That's we actually skipped that. That's really where the movie starts when
for
it's
sure. Yeah,
explaining that, right? But like it almost opened a portal into the theater. Like I'm in this
yeah,
moment with y'all, even though this is a film that I paid money to come and watch to be entertained. I felt
yeah.
like I was a part of it. That is, yeah,
To
man.
reach
I don't. That's hard
to
to beat.
reach you on that level. Yeah, to reach you to the screen like that is
Yeah,
crazy.
it's hard
So,
to beat.
but it's hard. It's hard. And there was also, which I thought was genius, there was an effect on Sammy's voice that also was a little bit, for lack of better terms, I'll use the word angelic, right?
Hmm.
But it was something on his voice that was outer worldly,
Yeah,
right? And you know how they kind of like put, it's like putting heavy reverb on a nigga voice or something like that. right? It was someone his voice that made it like pierce through like realms or something like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
fam, I couldn't believe. And then a praline singing. Remember?
yeah. She jumps on
And
stage.
she jumped on stage, started singing, and then she let loose too. Started crawling on stage and all that in the little silk dress.
Yeah,
It
she
was
was
like
rocking.
the prime like all the sinners in one building. I mean, except Remick wasn't there yet, but man, I don't know, man. That scene was amazing, man, and that Ludwig did an amazing job with how he scored that movie. The sound and everything. I noticed the different sounds at different times. It really made it. It just made it a different. Like you said, it's like we were there. You know what I mean?
Crazy man.
It was there. What do
Yeah.
you think about the controversy with? Well, two things. Uh, let's talk about who happened first. Mary happened first. What do you think about him? Mary convincing him to let her go, talk to them, right? Go see what they got, what their plans up to. People were a little upset at that, saying that she was the reason that they got in, basically, because remember she ended up turning
Mhm.
stack, right?
Mhm.
But I'm not sure if I look at this. I'm not sure if I look at it the same way. My thoughts on that is she she's doing what she's always done, right? She's the girl that's white passing. She's the girl that you would be driving with, and she would talk to the police, right?
Absolutely.
Like even to this day, that's modern day that, right? So
For sure.
right? She did what she would always do. Let me go see what's up with them, cause y'all don't. They white, you don't know what they own. I'm I'm white passing. I can go get that off, but because
And
nobody, huh?
and sorry to cut you off. The
No, go
the
ahead.
part that it's not a controversy to me because the only reason that she even thought to go talk to them is because Smoke is telling them because Smoke is the business guy, right?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
upside down. We about to run out of money. This ain't gonna last long. This juke joint, we got about couple more nights of this.
right,
We ain't gonna make
right.
enough. We ain't making enough money off of these sharecroppers, right?
And he's wood
So she
nickels.
like,
He's wood
well,
nickels. Mm-hmm.
right. She like, well, they got money. Let me go see what's up with them. If they want to come in here and spend some bread,
Mm-hmm.
that would help. So
Right.
that the intent and the motive wasn't to start anything. It
Not
was
at
the
all.
most purest of intents. To your point, to just add to your point, right? Like she's always probably tried to stand in that gap whenever she could,
Sure.
growing up in that space, having a black parent, right? You know what I'm saying? But being white passing, she used
Yep.
that to her advantage, her privilege, right? So
That's
she's
her
thinking,
role.
I'm gonna go see what's up. They'll tell me stuff that they won't tell y'all because I'm
Sure.
white to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they asked why she got in. She was like, I grew up with her. And he
Yeah.
told him, like, yeah, Mary, this my girl, basically.
Yeah.
Like, we grew up together.
Yep.
We don't know y'all. So
Right.
y'all can't come in. You know what I mean? So when she went out, it was all positive. She
Yeah.
just didn't know they was on bullshit, you know? So
Yeah. Then nobody could have known yeah, what was
yeah.
coming up next. I thought it
But
was
yeah.
interesting how Remick immediately in that scene, and I'm gonna go to the other controversial part that people were tripping on, but in that scene, Remick, well, kind of before that, when Remick first walked up, his first thing was to do song and dance, basically, right? With the three of them, put out the banjo, start playing, and because he tried to connect with them, like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
y'all like singing stuff too, like our music sound like y'all's a little bit, well, because we understand history, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so he tried to connect with him in that kind of way, and I thought that was interesting because at the time watching the movie, I'm not into the whole like thinking about he's Irish and the history and all that stuff. I'm just in the movie theater. I'm like, well, why would he just play music like that? Oh, but they are having a party and music going on. So, but then I was like, the deeper thing I started thinking about is that oh no, he really do want to connect. Now you're a vampire, and your connection come with a nigga's soul being gone, but but you do want to connect. And he do. He kept pressing that we all one,
Yeah.
right? We all one. We all together. Like we. What you mean? Like, and even if you know, if and you notice that when they did that Irish joint outside the with all the black, he turned all the black people too. They did their
Yeah.
Irish joint. It was sounding hella like almost bluesy, hip hop inspired, high speed, like bluesy a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because we know the similarities how with the music how it happened, and
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was I thought that's what made him such an interesting character because you look at it like every time you see a white face in a movie that's opposite of black people, you immediately think racist white man, right? But we've never seen an Irish white uh, older right? Who vampire? See, because when you get down to like the um, 50s, 60s, 70s, you can find an Irish racist dude anywhere, right?
Right.
I'm not saying you can't find them back then, but in the 30s and the 20s and all that, like everything was just going down with them, like with being oppressed and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
for them, they like, wait, now technically we not the same, but they look like, bro, we went through what y'all went through. What you mean they
Yeah.
don't like us either? They was killing my folks too. Now they don't
Yeah.
know how the dynamics of how much we went through, right?
Of course.
And I'm not to compare history, but he did think we had a connecting kind of thing here. We the same. And he's also probably thinking, I'm gonna go as far as to say this. I can do you one better. I can help you live forever. Right?
Sure.
So at that point, see, people think it's about control, right? I'm not so sure if it's about control at that point. He's a vampire, so they do thirst for blood, as far as history goes. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but also, he kept saying like community, unity, we are one. It's us. They singing and dancing. We do, we what you mean? We cool, and I can help y'all live forever. He kept saying that we can live forever. We never have to die. We never have to, you know. And I'm like, damn, I've never seen that in a movie before. Even in vampire movies, they don't get in depth with that kind of character when they're dealing with that kind of back and forth. You know what I mean? I thought
Mm-hmm.
that was crazy in itself, you know, and which made Remick super different in a sense. Um, I think one more thing, the other part I was talking about with this people didn't had a problem with was Grace, right? You know the part I'm talking about when she invited the invited them in. What was your take? Or what did you think about that? On why you can start before as far as why she did that. What do you think about why she did that, and what was our options at that point?
I mean, we know why she did it. It's you know, it's I think it's a little deeper than oh my husband's outside. I know he probably dead. But now they also are threatening my daughter Lisa. My boy is speaking in Chinese. Like he knows everything that my husband knows.
Yeah,
So he can really play this like a different way. Like I can really just go get your daughter right now for real. Like,
yeah,
or you could just let us in. But
yeah.
logically, obviously in that moment, who thinks logically? Maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't, right? But
Right,
like
right.
if the answer is let us in, okay, the likelihood that you become a vampire too and still end up killing your daughter is very high. So
Very
it's
high.
like it ain't really about your daughter. Like at this point, it ain't even about Lisa. It's really
No.
about okay,
Yeah, yeah,
how do I have some type of self preservation here? And that's, I mean, shit. Look, man, you from Watts. You already know where I'm going with this.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how many times have we had instances, or we can at least name one instance
Yep,
where it was beneficial to be an Asian American, whether it was Chinese, Korean, whatever,
yep.
versus a black American, right?
100%.
And I think that's where a lot of the controversy is coming from. Because it's like, damn, like why she? Oh, she playing both sides. Oh, she, and then you start looking at the historical context of what that means.
Yeah.
Like Asian people are obviously we know a lot of Asian people. I'm not saying it to be on some like racist shit, obviously,
Right.
but
Right.
like there are Asian people that come here for quote unquote the American dream, right?
Mhm.
But it is a lot of self preservation built into that.
Yeah.
We out for self. Like my family, we gonna bring my family over here too, or we sending money back to them wherever I
For
came
sure.
from. That's what
100%.
we own. So I got a store on each side of the street. I'm not splitting my money up because I'm rocking with y'all more than I'm rocking with them. Nah,
Right.
I'm getting money from all sides. You got some money? You speak Spanish? We don't care. We'll learn that too. Like,
Right.
come on, we'll take your money too. So I feel like Grace's character was in a impossible position. Nothing she
Impossible.
did there would have been the right thing, honestly.
Now, right now, here's right. And see, that's where I'm stuck, right? Because as I got to sit with this, because I was hot in the movie theater, I was hot. I
Yeah.
was hot. I was so mad, dog. But as I got to sit down, as I got to sit down and process this, I was thinking to myself, you know, well, what was the other choice? Like, and I hear your choices because you laid them out, and I'm like, Grace. People say it's about self preservation, right? Self preservation, and uh, my daughter, maybe
Yeah.
she out there somewhere, and my husband gone. That she do know her husband gone. She like, wait, we gonna stand in here and do what? Right? Because I say this because if the plan is to stay all night because they can't come in, I know, and y'all all know that they know where my daughter is, right? Because my husband out there, he got turned. He know everything, right? So that now we'll be cool in here, but my daughter won't ever be cool, right? And she's out there. Um, or we can it can go down right now and we see what because we don't know what's gonna happen yet. We don't know I don't know what the other side of this option. I know if we stay here, my daughter dead. There's no doubt about
Mhm.
it. Stay because they can't come out today, so they're gonna be gone. And I gotta that means I have to hope and pray throughout the night they don't go kill my daughter. I have to hope that. Knowing what Bo knows, he knows his daughter at the store. Or I'm sorry, at home. He knows where she
Yeah.
is. So and Bo turned, that's why when they came in, she grabbed that thing, started hitting niggas, and she went straight for Bo. Did you notice that? Dude,
Yeah.
she went straight for him. She didn't try to kill Remick. She went to the nigga who know where the daughter is. So you want to talk about self-preservation because they made it seem like the Chinese woman saved the Chinese. Nigga, she killed her husband. She died on fire, sticking a stake through his heart
It's hard.
while
Yeah.
she was on fire,
To save her
right?
daughter.
To save her daughter. She ain't thinking about, dude, technically, she not thinking about none of us. Black, Chinese, Irish, Indian, Choctaw, whoever in the building, she's not thinking about none of y'all. Her daughter,
Lisa. That's it.
Lisa. You know what I mean? And I thought that was, oh, and here's the thing too. If it didn't happen that way, it had to happen that way. And I'm glad it happened that way. But I know people have to be sacrificed. We lost Annie and the whole thing. We lost Pearline. We lost Grace. And there were Delta Slim. We lost Delta Slim in that whole thing. But what was I going to say? I said, but it had to be that because if they stayed overnight, whatever, the vampires can't come out today, so they wouldn't have been there. But the clan was coming, and you would have at that point would he have known? Because I know they told him.
He didn't know. He
He
didn't
still
know.
didn't know yet,
He didn't find out until Stack told him. Well,
right?
Merrick told him, and then Stack was like, "Nah, he ain't lying, cause like we
Yeah,
we we not up. They was for sure coming tomorrow to take care of
for
us.
sure, for
So either
sure.
way,
Out.
it's a L.
He was hell for sure. It's hell, and y'all wasn't gonna make it. Y'all wasn't gonna make it. So and then Grace, and as a hell as a father, like I don't know if I could have sat cool in there either, knowing my son is at the house and my wife is out there as a vampire and she know where he lives.
She
Everybody
got
got
to
to
run.
go.
Yeah.
Everybody got to go, fam. And I just thought, so I'm not really mad at Grace no more, you know, and she had to do what she had to do. You know what I mean? Um, did you, were you disappointed by, I guess and I'm only asking this question because it's been talked about on the internet, but as far as the vampire, do they not have enough screen time, in your opinion?
No, I think to your point, earlier point, it's more to the movie than that. Like, I'll say this: the movie was good without the vampires.
Yeah.
It
You're
was
right.
already a good movie. Like, even if it would have just been them trying to figure out how to get in the black with the juke joint and not
Yeah.
ever introduce a vampire to it. Like, the way the
Yeah.
story was written, the way the characters were being developed, like everybody kind of had their own little thing going on. Like, Mary and Stack got their thing going on. Annie and Smoke got their thing going on. Like, Delroy, or not Delroy, Delta Slim got his thing going on, right? So it's
Mhm.
and Sammy's got to make a choice, right? He was
Yeah.
always going to have to make a choice: was it blues or
Yeah.
church? What are
Yeah.
you
Yeah. Yeah.
doing? So either way, you're sprinkling in vampires to make it even more like of a plight. Now it's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But if you didn't do your point, man, I didn't think about it like that. If you left the vampires out, right? There's a lot of scenes that won't be in there, but there's so much you can do with, to your point, Mary and Stack, Smoke and Annie, Pearline and Sammy and his
Yep,
dad, Sammy and the guitar.
yep.
It's so many
Hogwarts.
stories that, man, because look, they all would have played out in that joint that night anyway,
Yeah,
right? They would have played out one way or another. And I didn't even think about that. If they didn't have the vampires, Ryan Coogler could have had a whole nother movie. He could have went a whole nother way.
and it
And
still could have
which
been called Sinners.
and it's still, that's what I'm saying. That's why I think it's important that people understand that. If you keep saying a vampire movie, if I tell somebody it's a vampire movie and they go see it and they like, I mean, vampires came like the last, because I thought,
30 minutes.
because going in, I thought horror vampires.
Yeah,
But I was so into the story that by the time Remy came along, I'm like, oh, okay. I forgot something evil was in here, right? You know what I mean? Um, that was an amazing movie all the way through. And I think Ryan Coogler did an awesome job as far as like we talked about all the historical pieces, you know, and and with the cut low key fantasy, well, whoever believes in that, vampires and stuff. I love the fact that they still kept that rule about you can't be invited in, right?
you have to be
Which is
invited.
like
Yeah,
you had to be invited in, like which across the board with vampires. That was kind of the thing. I used to draw True Blood years ago.
yeah.
True Blood, you couldn't just walk into my house. You got to be invited in, and I'm glad they kept that element to vampire. But I'm also glad it wasn't about just bloodlust. You know what I mean? His thing was community, which was ill. I've never seen a vampire fighting for
Ever,
community.
ever.
Oh, one thing we got to talk about too before we end this also. Um, a prayer in the water, Sammy in the water. Remy got him by the shoulder, wrapped, hemmed up.
Yeah,
Sammy starts saying a prayer, right? Remy,
he
Remy
finishes it.
finishes the prayer. So there was a thing, and I'm gonna tell you my thoughts on it. So there was a thing floating around, people saying that, well, whether non-believers or believers, that's not, I don't know who's who, right? People were saying that he was showing him that your God, the Jesus stuff, don't work. And he also said, in the scene, he said, they That's the same verse they when they oppress my people with it, something like that. I forgot what the line was.
That's
He said
exactly
that's the
what he said.
same thing they used to oppress my people with, right? Um, Now watching this as a Christian man, I'm never offended when I see movies stuff like that, movies stuff like that. Plus, I know everybody's not a Christian, so I don't get mad at who don't believe in what, right? But I also looked at it from the mind of how I am a Christian man. I looked at it like, well, one, um, as an oppressor, using the Bible to oppress people, these aren't people who actually believe in the Bible. They use it to oppress, right? Sammy also, in my opinion, didn't believe in what he was saying. He got scared and went to something familiar that his dad probably taught him back in the day.
Mhm.
So he didn't believe what he was saying. He was just scared he's gonna die, right? And that's your scapegoat, right? And as Christianity goes, um, you have to believe it. It's kind of like you see the movie Skeleton Key. See
Yeah,
that movie?
yeah,
Right. First of all, that was one of the illest twists in the movie ever, right?
for
Skeleton Key.
sure.
Remember Hoodoo didn't work until she started to believe it. Remember the old
Yeah.
lady when she put that brick dust in front of her doorway, the old lady kind of walked, but then she smiled like, oh, we got her. She believed it. So now whatever we're gonna
Hmm.
do is gonna work, right? So the same thing with Sammy. Sammy was just praying. He was just praying because he was scared. He never he was fighting his dad probably about he probably was just a preacher's kid. Oh, go ahead, go
He
ahead.
knew the Bible though. He knew the
Do you know
Bible
about it?
though because
For sure?
remember that scene? He was like, "I want you to lead my service," and he was
Yeah.
like, he said, "I forget what verse he said,
The whole
but
verse.
he
First
started
Corinthians something about it. Yeah,
he started saying it, and Sammy just knew it. He
for
didn't have
sure.
the
He knew
Bible
about
in
it.
front of him or nothing. I'm like, whoa, bro, know the Bible, which makes sense. You the preacher kid, but
Preacher
like,
kid. See, that's what I'm saying. So go ahead.
I think I think it's all tied. I'm not. I get what you're saying, and I can
Mhm.
see that angle too, like him not being
No,
a
no, no, no.
believer.
But what I'm saying is though, real quick, I'm saying that I'm not saying this would have my true belief in the prayer would have worked in this movie. I'm not saying that. This
Yeah.
movie, no, he had you dead sights, right? It was going down. If you didn't grab that guitar, you was out of here, right? So I'm just saying that the conversation outside the movies, that was a part of the conversation that that either Jesus ain't real, so y'all and y'all or this y'all oppressors religion, and it don't work. It's not about to save you now. And also, Remick said this: the oppressors use this for my people, right? It reminded him of a time that he remembers. That's why he said
Hmm.
it, right? Which also gave another look into the connection, why he feels connected. Because he's saying, just like y'all, we were also oppressed, and they use what they use on y'all on us. Kind of like we have
Hmm.
way more in common than you think. And that was him showing that in that verse, right? Which I thought was really interesting also to as far as why the music was what it was and why he kept talking about family and community, why it was so important that they wanted to get in that club because for him it wasn't blood. Now everybody there was gonna die for sure, but I believe he also believed it was it was community.
For
You know what I
sure.
mean? He wanted community. That's a vampire saying that, but it's still community. You know,
Absolutely.
um, and which I thought was crazy. Did you like the ending?
I love the ending
Same.
because it's still it's so much it's so many concurrent things happening. Right. It started kind of with the guitar. Started
Mhm.
with the church, and it ended with the guitar and the church. Right.
Yep.
Like even him using the guitar, like that was kind of how he got America up out of here.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
for
saying?
sure.
Like that's it's and that guitar literally saved his life.
That's a fact.
And then he still had a choice. When he went back to that church, it was like
Mhm.
put the guitar down, son. And he like nah. Even though all that stuff just happened to me,
Yep.
I can't stay here, and I gotta keep playing this guitar. And
Man.
that to me is like he
Yeah.
chose, and I mean, they show him obviously years later. He's still
Mhm.
alive. He's still doing his thing. He's doing what he loved. But he said when he asked Stack, obviously at the end, like, do you look back on that day and like is was that like a good memory for you basically?
Mhm.
He's like, yeah, it's the best day. He's like, before all the book, BS. He's like, that was the best day of my life. Also, the last time I saw the sun,
He
last
did
time I
say
saw my brother,
real
like,
talk.
so it's like, yeah, man, like, yeah, man, I can't say enough about it, man. I think they did a stellar
Now,
job with the film, bro.
now I gotta ask, right? Okay, so we know he walked out the church with the guitar because when he was
Hmm.
driving, he still had it on the side, right? So he
Hmm.
chose. Did you get into the conspiracy theories about what exactly he did choose? Because uh, so he had the guitar in his hand, driving off, right? And then the next time we see him, he's an old man in the club, a blues man in the club, right? He had scars on his face. We know it's him.
Hmm.
And then Stack and Mary walk in, right? Did you notice that there wasn't his reflection wasn't in the mirror? Yeah, I just messed you up. I just messed
No,
you up,
I
fam.
didn't. I don't think I peeked
You gotta
that.
go see that, fam. You gotta check, look back at that scene again, fam. Look, when they pulled up on him, remember they got the bar, then the camera showed them from behind, right? There's a big mirror. First of all, what bar in the world got a big mirror in the back of it? That's a whole other thing. But there's a
Mhm.
big mirror on the bar, and it
Mhm.
shows some of the bartenders. You see a little bit of bar, and they don't. You don't. So Stack and um, uh, Sammy's in front of the mirror. You don't see neither
Yeah.
one of their reflections in the mirror. That was crazy. You don't say nothing else about it.
Hmm.
And then you know how the scene went. And then they walked off into the. I thought, and so the rumor is conspiracy is that Sammy at that point he made a deal with the devil, right? That's why they keep coincide that with the Robert Johnson story about the old blues man who got into that fork in the road and made a deal with the devil. Um,
Hmm.
I thought that was interesting, and I was like, wait a minute, no reflection. That's OG vampire stuff right there. You know what I mean? And I just thought that was interesting. And remember, so they said Smoke made a deal with Stack that he wouldn't kill such and such. In my mind, I got thinking to myself, how do you make a deal with a vampire? And why would y'all just stop fighting to separate? I know y'all brothers, but what kind of power is that? I said, how
Yeah.
did that happen? Right? And and I got to thinking, like, is that really why nobody touched Buddy? When the last time Buddy seen daylight? I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, not
Because it's
Buddy,
nighttime.
Sammy.
Sammy.
It was nighttime in the bar, right? I don't know when the last time. And I know if you look back though, you look at that scene. If I'm not mistaken, and I heard it too on the internet too, and I was like, I knew I wasn't tripping. There's no reflection of them. Him and Stacks. Remember, the girl was standing off to the side. Mary was standing off to the side, but
Yeah. Yeah.
there's no reflection of him and Stacks in that mirror. You know what I'm
But
saying?
I mean, I guess my only rebuttal to that is, well, who if he made a deal with the devil, when did he do it? Because he aged. Stack and Mary didn't.
I don't know. Well, he also didn't go out like he didn't get killed. I'm so see that's the thing I'm tripping on because I'm like because he didn't get killed, but why he have no reflection? Because that's a vampire thing, right? So what happened? Because but if his soul is gone because they made a deal with the devil, maybe that's why because right because the reflection thing has something to do with the soul not being there, not nobody
Right.
physically being standing in front of you. So if you made a deal with the devil, that means his soul is gone. So you still wouldn't be able to see him in front of the mirror.
Yeah.
And if that's true or not, I don't know. But it's on the table for review, is what I'm trying to say.
For sure.
I thought that was hella interesting. You know,
Yeah. That's dope, man. I
yeah,
can't. I got to go back and see it. I got to go back and
but,
see it because
and that's
I'm sure
also
some.
what's dope about it. that's that also was dope about it. The fact that there's so many of these kind of intricate little details about the movie, man. You just like, damn, I gotta go again. I saw it IMAX, big screen, That's the way to see it. And it was just an excellent movie. It was super dope. And now we got to the point. We gotta ask. I gotta ask. Well, you happy with the movie? I do know you thought it was an awesome movie. I thought it was an awesome movie. I need to know scale of 1 to 10, 10 being excellent, flawless victory. What do you rate this movie?
Oh, I'll
It's
give it
tough.
a nine.
It's tough.
I'll give it like a 9.2. And
9.2.
the only reason I'm not giving it a 10 is because I wish we'd have had a little bit more time. Like the
What do you mean?
movie, I feel like the movie, it was great, and I liked the ending, but I felt like we kind of got there too quickly. Like
Mm.
once the vampires made themselves known, it was
Yeah.
like movie was over not too long after that. Like once it was like people started leaving the spot, and now
Yeah.
everybody outside is a vampire.
Mhm.
We ain't have much time left. Like, and it's like,
Yeah.
damn, like,
No.
all right.
Is
And
that for real? You ain't gonna have much time left too.
right. So I don't know, man. I guess I'm penalizing them because it left me, which is a good thing, wanting to see more. I'm
Yeah,
penalizing them just a percentage point because
for sure.
I really just wanted to see more. Like if we could have got that whole, now that I know this, now that I
Yeah.
know that Delta Slim had a whole monologue that we didn't, a part of that monologue we didn't get,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like now I'm like, damn, like that would have been cool. Like if we'd have got more of Annie's story, that would have
Mhm.
been cool. You know what I'm saying? Like like they did such a good job of setting the characters up that I'm invested. Like I
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
know more
Yeah.
about him. So it's
For sure.
like his dad, like more stuff about his dad, like and Smoking Stack's dad being the musician and that being
Oh
their dad's
yeah.
guitar. That was
Remember
fire,
they said he was an evil man too. Remember?
right? And they
You
gave
thought-
him the guitar, so maybe
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. It was an evil man because I don't know what he was into.
he
That's
was on some other
yeah.
yeah. But they were saying that Smoking Stack double crossed the mobs.
For sure. Which was that
That's
was
why
they,
they had
that was their first scene in the movie.
yeah, but they had
Yeah.
the but we ain't know like that they had we knew that they had done something,
For
but
sure.
it was like, oh, y'all really double crossed the mobs. Like y'all had Irish beer and Italian wine.
Exactly.
Clearly, everybody knows that they didn't mix at that time,
Right.
right? Like Goodfellas tell you something different,
Yeah.
but
Where y'all
like,
get that from?
yeah, like how you get both? How you get
Right.
both? You got beer and wine?
Right.
Like, bro, chill out. Like, come on, bro. So I thought that was dope, but nah, that if I had to give it a grade, I mean, 9.5 out of 10. It's an amazing film.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna give it a 10. I'm gonna give it a 10. And I think the reason I give it a 10 because one, I can't find nothing wrong with it. Right? I think everything about it from character, the way he filmed it, 70 millimeter IMAX,
Yeah,
the wardrobe, the historical things, the things I learned about the movie, still gave me vampire. Also, he gave you sex. They gave you, but what they didn't leave nothing out. They gave you
yeah.
music. The music was incredible. Award-winning composer in Ludwig, like, and Michael B. Jordan killed Smoking Stack. Killed. This question for Fizzy: does Ryan Coogler or Michael B. Jordan get an Oscar for Oscar nod? Well, Oscar nod for sure. Do they
Oh
get an
yeah.
Oscar though?
Nom?
Oh, it's a
Like
nom.
nomination?
Nom for sure. For nom for sure. They get a nom. Are they gonna win it? I hope so. I think they get one
Yeah. I would love this. I'm gonna be real. I mean, we still got a lot of time left
for sure.
in the
Yeah,
year,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. Right.
I mean, right now I don't see a movie. I haven't seen a movie or heard about a movie that's better than this one yet this year.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they got a good shot at sweeping. Ludwig gonna win
yeah.
some stuff. Ruth Carter for sure gonna win again. Like
Oh, she killed the wardrobe.
she's
Killed.
always in the conversation. She always in
Yeah,
the
for sure,
conversation.
for sure.
So yeah, I think they got a good shot, man. I do. I mean, the movie came out. I mean, it's April, so I mean, we got the rest of the
Yeah.
year to kind of you know traverse that. But yeah,
Ooh,
man, I think
remember it's original
for
too.
what they put out.
Yeah. An original horror film? Yeah, 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 yeah. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough. Well, Cash, man, look, man, I appreciate you joining me on this live, bro. I'm really looking forward to um not that, I mean I kind of discussed it a little bit with you, but hopefully we can do a bunch more of these because I know me and the guys, we all watch and with some of the other bros. I would love to have a lot of some of the guys jump on and we have these talks about these movies that we discuss over live conversation, over live YouTube, whatever. Looking forward to many more. And I think we just continue doing this. We trying to drop your I didn't drop your I forgot I'm supposed to drop that banner. But you can follow Cash at Cash Don't Make Me. Start with a K, right?
Yes, sir.
KASHDONTMAKEME. Follow Cash Don't Make Me. Follow Cash on Instagram. And yeah, man, tap in with us more. We're gonna do more reviews. It's our first review of Sinners. We'll be looking forward to it. We got some more shows and more movies I'm gonna do, and we're gonna have some of the other brothers in. And I think this is gonna be something cool that we can do if we all agree on like what movies we want to do and when. Then we all just lock in, and like my schedule's open. I know we're on a big time difference. My good brothers on the other side. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to doing this more often. I appreciate you joining me tonight, man. This in this live. That's really dope. You know,
Well, for sure, man. I appreciate you, bro. And yeah, hopefully, one of these times we're gonna dive into how Bad Luck was wrong about how The Wire wasn't better than Game of Thrones. But we'll talk about that another time.
I really want to have that.
We gotta have Woo for that one though.
We got it. We got to have Woo for that one. I can't believe. I did say that. I said that, and I meant it too. That's cool. I meant it, but yeah,
Hey, look, man. Hey, we accept our bros.
yeah,
Either way, what they say, what the young folks say, we listen and we don't judge.
yeah. Hey, flaws and all, man. Flaws and all. Hey,
You see,
Cash, man, good looking, man. Hey, I'm be at you real soon. We gonna set another one of these up, and we gonna and we gonna yeah, man. We gonna just look forward to a bunch of more with you, man. I appreciate you, bro.
sure, bro.
My
Be safe,
man.
bro.
Are you too, man? Tap in well, for everybody online, man. I appreciate everybody fell in the zone with us today, man. Thank y'all for leaving comments, questions. Be looking forward to these, many more with these. Me and my brothers break down some more movies, TV shows, a bunch of stuff. Whatever we feel like, we just gonna do a bunch of breakdowns. Because trust me, the more I add to this, live, the crazy it's gonna get. Because these brothers are hilarious and very open about their thoughts. so I can't wait for to drop some more, and I can't wait for y'all to see what we got up next. So appreciate y'all, man. We out. Peace.